Hey everyone, so I thought I would get on and do a crochet video or something along those lines, crafting video. We ended up with lots of snow, well, not a lot of snow, a little bit of snow, but the snow came after rain the night before and everything iced over, and then we ended up with 70-mile-an-hour winds plus gusts. So we had not great travel conditions. Yesterday I left work a little bit early because of it, and I passed 8 semis on their side and a couple of cars that were topside. So not a great situation to be in. And when I got up this morning at 3 to get ready for work, the roads were closed due to accidents and everything. So I told my boss I would try to come in at 9, but the roads are still closed, and trying to go to work after 9 just is not cost effective because on a good day, it's a 45-minute drive to get to and from work. So yeah, that was not something that was feasible for me today. So right now I am winding into a ball. For whatever reason, this skein, it's a hank, sorry, this hank doesn't, like, it's twisted a little bit. So on my umbrella spindle, I don't know what it's called, but on my little umbrella here, it doesn't like to work off onto my yarn winder really well. I was able to manage to make a small one, but it was an exercise in patience. So right now I am hand winding it, and then I will wind it into an actual cake later. But I do have a couple of projects on the docket. I am going to make some dish scrubbies to hopefully sell at the craft show at the end of the month. I want to also finish this camo, you hear the dog grumbling in the background, this camo sweater that I had started. And I want to, what else? There's a couple of things I want to do. Dish scrubbies, maybe a couple of chicken hot pads. I've got like the bodies of 3 or 4 of them, and I just have to put on like the beaks and the waddles, warbles, little flappy thingies. I have to put those on, and then I will have 3 chickens done. And this yarn that I'm winding, it's really fine. I think I am going to either do some headbands or maybe bandanas. I think they would drape really well for that. So I do have a handful of projects to do. And yeah, so I thought I would have you guys kind of hang out with me for that part. The weather last week was amazing. We had an 80-degree day actually in there, which is insane for the end of February. Coffee. But we also had a couple of like 60-degree days. Last week definitely felt like springtime, and this week we're back into winter because Nebraska does not believe in peacefully transitioning between the seasons. It has to be violent. So that's fun. Not really. I do not like summertime, and I do not like the dead of winter. I am a spring, fall girly. I much prefer, like 50, 60-degree temps with lows in the 40s because I want it to be just cool enough that cuddling is not a chore or a swampy mess, and I like wearing sweaters. They're comfy. But I also don't want to be freezing. And a couple of weeks ago we had, without the wind chill, a negative 28-degree day, and for about 15 minutes my car said it was negative 31 degrees on the drive, and that's not including wind chill. And it's Nebraska, so there's always a wind chill. So that was a thing. what else? I've been doing quite a bit of planning, and I am currently trying to work my way through the 12-week year book. I'm struggling a little bit with building a vision because I have no idea what my vision is. It's like non-existent. Like, I know what I would like to have, but in this economy, I don't know that it's feasible. Like, my dream would be to have a little self-sufficient, mostly self-sufficient homestead. Like, obviously, there would have to be some things that would have to be bought in. But in general, like, I would like to have a couple of goats, maybe a milk cow, chickens, some ducks, a couple of geese, that sort of thing. And yeah, I would just like us to be able to at least break even on that stuff. However, the cost of land is insane. And I mean, we already have a mortgage and it's insane as well. So, great times. I have no idea how to visionary that. My watch is going insane. Oh, I'm getting Snapchats. So, yeah, there's that. I don't know. And spiritually, I'm not sure how to work through like what my spiritual goals of my lifetime are. And I understand, because one of the main points that they bring on the 12-week year is that you can't be successful if you don't have an emotional investment. And I don't know if I've said this, but I am bipolar. So my emotional investment on anything sort of changes. It's not a consistent thing. What, like, things that I love one day are not things that I love the next. And I have no idea how to rectify that. So, yeah, I just don't know how to work through that. I am going to keep at it, though. I'm going to keep reading the book and then go back and try to do the steps again. Maybe I can get some inspiration. I was going to maybe look some stuff up on YouTube and see how other people did their 12-week years. Maybe they can give me an idea of like what to look for. I like the idea of it, though. It does make sense that, you know, the end of the year is always like a big push in anything. You know, you're always looking at the goal line there, and then you have the first of the year is like a nice fresh start. So by putting everything into 12-week increments, it does make sense that it feels like you're at that end of the push, and then you get a couple of days of respite, and then, you know, you're starting fresh all over again. And I like that idea. Just not sure how I'm going to be able to implement that. In case anyone's wondering, is also, I really hate winding yarn. When it goes smooth and I can use the yarn winder, I love that. I hate trying to ball it up. But like I said, the skein, it's like and I tried from both ends. It's like they got wound up inside of it. And at one point I had to like actually unweave it. And I've never had that problem. I don't know if this hank just got messed up in shipping, maybe. Sometimes our Hobby Lobby does not treat their stuff very nicely. So there's that. I'm trying to think. I lead a pretty boring life. Like, I get up at 3 a.m., I go to work. I am working on my next novels, plural. I have one that I'm typing out on the computer, and I have one that I am handwriting. And usually I work on that one because I get to work early. I'm always afraid I'm going to be late. And so I get up extra early because I'm not very much of a morning person. Like, I sleep through my alarms and everything. And that's been kind of an ongoing thing since I was a little kid. Like, I could sleep through everything. So I have 6 alarms to get me up, and then I shower and I get ready for work. So I tend to leave the house way earlier than what I need to, and I have about 30 minutes. And my work has a decent break room. Like, it even has a little canteen in it, so that's nice. And that way I can sit kind of comfortably. I don't have to worry about waking up the rest of my family or anything. And I can just... I wrote 3 pages the other day. Like, it was a really good day. Sometimes the muse isn't there for that, but sometimes it is. And the other day was a good day. But I can get a little bit done, you know, in that 30-45 minutes. And I'm also working on... One of my resolutions this year was to become better at conversational Spanish. And I think there's definitely improvement. I'm not 100% certain. I was definitely improving faster back in January, but at work they were like, you can't be taking notes or anything. And so I would jot down like different vocab and stuff when I was listening to... I wonder if I can link it. I'll try to link it. It's a set of YouTube videos, and I had one of my coworkers. He is from like the Honduras and El Salvador. He's traveled quite a bit, so he kind of... I'm not sure which country he's from originally, but he has family in both countries. And I asked him if it was like a legit video, like playlist, and he said it was. So they've been helping with that, but I definitely need to take notes, and so that slowed me down. So now I'm only using Duolingo, because by the time I get home, it's like 6:15 in the evening, and yeah, then it's time to eat supper, and I've got a very short window of trying to get all of the things that I want to get done finished. So my shifts are 12 hours long. So that kind of put a damper on it. I do think there has been improvement in my conversational Spanish. So that's something else that I've been doing and working on. So in the morning, I do a Spanish lesson on Duolingo, and then I do a little bit of writing on my novel. And I usually talk with coworkers. One of them, he and I how do I phrase it? We're not super politically minded. We don't necessarily talk about politics per se, but we're definitely very philosophical. And both of us really enjoy history, so we tend to have a lot of conversations based on those things. And it's always fun. It's always interesting to get his perspective due to his demographic versus my demographics and stuff. And one of the things that we were discussing is hospital biases against women who are in mixed race relationships aren't always treated the best. And I mean, women in general aren't always treated the best in hospitals either. Like, they're always, not always, they tend to be told, and this has happened to me personally, as well as my mother and other women that I know, where we're told that we're overreacting, or maybe you should lose some weight. So that was an interesting discussion that we had, and he knew it was bad based on the fact that they're a mixed race couple, but he did not realize it was that bad just by being a woman either. So that was a fun conversation. Like, and I say fun, I enjoy the stimulation that the conversation provides, so that's always a blast. I am almost done with this hank. Yeah, like I said, normally they're not this bad. I've done hanks before. Maybe not with this specific yarn winder, but I've never had such a problem with this. And like, even now it keeps trying to like get caught. But this way, if there's another section that's kind of woven in, I can just take the whole ball. And I could not do that with the yarn winder. So what are you doing with your life? There you go. So yeah. Anyway, what else? Like I said, I wanted to make some headbands and some small things. I've got my little canister for small miscellaneous items here ready to go, so that way I can fill it up. I've already made a river dahlia top in the extra large that I'm going to sell, and the pattern is from Passionate Goods. It's going to be labeled and everything, but I'm going to try to sell that. I was originally making it for me, but apparently I'm not quite an extra large, so I did a lily top in the large, and that fit a lot better. I'll do another river dahlia top in the large size for myself, and I'll see how that goes. 15 minutes, huh? Let's see. Well, I will probably do this in sections, so I will stop here, finish getting this wound up, and then I will I'll probably move to another project, and I will film that, but I'll probably fast forward through it. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. Okay, so I'm trying to finish this yarn and this yarn. So, I mean, it looks like there's still quite a bit, but there's really not a lot. It's very airy. It's not a very dense yarn. So I'm trying to finish those. So I'm going to make another dish scrubby. I am switching hooks, though. I was using a K, but this yarn is from Dollar Tree. Yeah, it's from the Dollar Tree. And so it's a cheap yarn. I paid $1.25 for it, and it's about the size of a normal cotton skein that you would get from like Walmart, like the smaller it's about this size. So that's 2.5 ounces, so it's about 2.5 ounces, and it's thinner though, and it likes to split really easy, and that made using the K hook, which I have used in the past with different yarns, it did make it a little bit more airy, so that scrubby is probably better suited for like wiping off counters than it is actually doing dishes with. My scrubbies though are safe for Teflon and stuff, so that's why I really like them. But I am switching to a size F. Yes, I'm still recording. Hold on. Okay, my husband wanted to give me a kiss real quick. So, anyway, so that one's better suited for kitchen counters, and most of my scrubbies, or all of my scrubbies, are Teflon safe, and I've used them on cast iron, and it hasn't taken away the seasoning. So, they are really good scrubbies. But like I said, that one's not very dense, and so I don't know how effective it would be for actually doing dishes on that one. So I switched to a smaller hook, and we will see how that goes for that. So my kids don't have school today, so you will probably be seeing them popping in and out. You've already seen for sure one of them, maybe the other one, I can't remember, but popping in and out throughout the day. And in general being a terror, I suppose. All three of them. Wow. So I did get up, hence the yawning, at my normal time at 3 in the morning. So that way I could shower and start getting ready, and that's I was actually on my way into the shower when my husband was like, babe, you should check the roads. And so I got onto Nebraska 511 and the roads were closed. So I messaged my boss and was like, hey, I can't make it in because the roads are like shut down. And it took her a while to respond. She does not get up as early as I do. And she finally did respond, but like it took forever for me to fall back asleep. And I probably should have just stayed up because when I woke up the second time at like 6:30ish, somewhere in there, it felt like I was hungover. My head was kind of throbbing a little bit, and I felt super groggy. I just was not with it. I took a shower and I felt much better afterwards, but still, it was just ugh. And the roads, of course, were still closed. When I drove home yesterday, there was 4 semis taking a nap on the side of the road. Oh, this is better. Much more densely packed. This is a good idea. And I say that sarcastically. There was a bunch of accidents yesterday on the drive home. At one point, everyone on the interstate was crawling at like 25 miles an hour, which isn't the safest, but we were all going that fast, so we didn't really have much choice. So I picked up the dollar store cotton yarn because I am making hand towels, like the ones that you can hang on your kitchen stove, as opposed to a living room stove, I guess. Anyway, that you can hang on your stove handle to like wipe your hands and stuff. And it's definitely a learning process. I need to break out my sewing machine so that way I can do things a little bit differently. I am getting better as it goes. So like these ones are definitely a lot cheaper than what ones in the future will be. But we are getting there. And maybe they won't sell and I will just gift them to family members. But I picked up the Dollar Tree cotton yarn because I was like, that'll be good for in the kitchen and stuff, and it'll help keep the cost down. And sometimes you get what you pay for. I think it was still a good decision in regards for the kitchen stuff, because I think for that specific project with the handles, it will be effective. I think I would not make a top out of this stuff. It splits so easy. I think if you tried to wash it, even on the most gentle, or dry cleaned it, I think it would try to shred. So, not something I would use as a wearable. And it's not particularly soft either. There's definitely softer brands out there. But I am using one of my interchangeable hooks for it now. I know some people complain about the interchangeable hooks, but I love them. They are my favorite. The only problem is that I tend to lose the handles, the part that isn't interchangeable. I've got all the hooks. I don't have the other 2 handles. Sorry, 4 handles. I can only find 2. And I have 3 sets, so that's a bit of a problem. I'm hoping as I continue to reorganize and situate the craft room here that it will improve. I spent about 15 minutes this morning working on it and kind of getting stuff sorted through. I am doing a no spend this month, so no yarn. So I'm hoping that I can kind of knock down the stock that I have in hand. The problem that I have is that I don't know what to do with some of it. I just don't. I've got to figure that out. And before you're like, well, shouldn't you have a plan for the yarn before you buy it? Yes, I 100% agree with that. However, some of this yarn was gifted to me, so I did not, in fact, pay for it. In fact, a lot of it was gifted to me. Some of it from my mother, some of it from a friend because she was going to give up crocheting because of her hands. She has taken crocheting back up again, but not to the level that she was before. If she were to want the yarn back, she's more than welcome to have it back, but I don't foresee that happening. Right now she just buys as, like, if there's a project she wants to do, because her hands really do hurt her all the time. So she typically only works on one project at a time. So when there's a project that she wants, she just buys enough yarn for that project and calls it good. I do like the dish scrubbies because they work up rather quickly. I can get a bunch of them done in a short time. The problem is that the scrubby yarn does tend to wear on my hands a little bit. So there's that as a negative side effect, but it's not terrible. It's not any worse than at work. Oh, that reminds me, I've got to get gloves tomorrow. And I gave one of my cheaper fountain pens to the coworker I was talking about, that's like, that we have a lot of ethical conversations and philosophical conversations, and we talk about history. He kind of likes pens a lot too. And so I had him try out a couple of my pens because I was like, check out these fountain pens because they write nice. You know, I have a bougie taste in pens, but I have a baloney budget. And he tried out, he goes, oh, that is nice. And I was like, well, I have a couple of extra ones that I'm not using. I can give you one. And so I gave him one with, and he is a traditionalist. He likes blue or black ink. He leans more toward black ink than blue ink, but I have plenty of blue-black ink, so I filled it up with that. And yesterday he was like, I love that. He goes, this is my favorite pen ever. So I actually have 2 bottles of the blue-black ink. I'm going to give him one of them because I do not need 2 bottles of blue-black ink. I do use blue-black quite a bit, and my gray. Like, those are probably the 2 biggest colors that I use the most, are the blue-black and the gray. The blue-black, because it does look official, I like that it's not a really bright blue, so that's nice. But I do really like the gray for everyday writing. I have been using the blue-black quite a bit, though, lately. So I don't actually have a set stitch count for how many of these, how many stitches to a row. I just kind of wing it until it looks like the right size, because obviously if you change hooks like I did, it's going to change the number of stitches that you need to do. So this one's going to end up a little bit more square than rectangular, but they're all about the size. I don't like dish scrubbies that are way too big. Oh, I do not want a double crochet. What the heck am I doing with my life? I like my dish scrubbies to be about palm size because I tend to, I don't know, just the way that I clean, it makes sense for me, and I've never had any complaints in the past, but I forgot the loop. So I don't know how other people do it, but I tend to hang my scrubbies up, if possible, when I am done using them and I've rinsed them off. And I usually keep several on hand as well, so that way when one's dirty it can go directly into the wash. I think I've got one more scrubbies worth of yarn, maybe in both, but we'll see. Like I said, it's kind of hard to tell with the red one because it's so light and airy that it is a pain. Oh, I don't want to trim that yet. What am I doing with my life? Alright, well, that's another like 15 minutes of talking, so I think I'm going to do another fast forward video as I work through some projects. I'll do like an amalgamation, that's a word, of projects and fast forward through them, time lapse them, or whatever. And I will remember to add music this time. That way we don't waste up all of your time, because again, the talking parts are already at like half an hour, and then there's going to be the time lapse parts, and those are going to be some time. So yeah, and at some point I need to get breakfast, and it's also almost time for me to take my happy pill. So there's that. So I will see you guys in the time lapse. Okay, so I think that is about it for today, or at least for those. There is a couple of writing videos thrown in there, just because I needed a break from crochet. So you actually get to see me work on both novels that I'm doing. So book 2 and book 3. I have already published book 1. So there's that. I also flipped through and found some of my old, they're a little dusty, bullet journals and journals. So like all of those, and it kind of makes me so happy to go through them. Also, I've been in the B6 forever. That was the B6 365 Stylogy, and so is this one. Like, look at that. Like, partially finished. You know, I really kind of suck at habit trackers looking at that. And then, so this is a journal. This one's a Moleskine Cahier. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. But this one's like an actual journal. And this one's from 2017, I believe. Yeah, 2017, September, that one was. So this is March 26th through October 20th. So like all of those pages all filled up. And then this one was 2019, I believe. Yeah, 2019. That was before I was boycotting her stuff. And I didn't quite fill up the book all the way, most of it. I was worried about pages wanting to start coming out. I've got doodles in the back, so like there's like 4 pages in here that, sorry, 6 pages total that didn't actually get written on. And this one went through, oh crap, that's a long one, February of 2021. So 2019 through like all of 2020. And yeah, like, well, I've got notes in here. Where is it? Oh, I have from when it was spreading, when COVID was spreading through Nebraska. Maybe it was in one of the planners. I've got other, where is it? Oh, I remember. Let's see. This will take me a second. Where is it? So there's, that was Kobe, right? I didn't write down the name. Maybe it wasn't Kobe. I don't know. Famous basketball player. I was very upset though because his wife found out from the news before the cops had a chance. There is a point in here, and I remember this because I got to say I told you so. When I told my husband that it was going to be a huge thing, there was going to be lockdowns with COVID. It was in January. And my husband was like, "You just want another Black Plague." And I said, "That's beside the point." However, so January 30th. Feels like I'm looking at this too deep, that I just want another plague to hit. And, like, when March hit, so that was January 30th, and so March 25th, they shut down, like, they closed out the schools and stuff, and at the time I was working as a janitor. And he was like, "Your degree's in emergency management. Why didn't you tell me?" And I was like, "I did." And I was able to go back to January 30th and be like, "I told you so." So people keep a journal so that way you can prove that you're right. Anyway, but yeah, that was a fun little trip down memory lane. Like, I hadn't really looked at them in a while. And so yeah, like that was cool. Anyway, so this video is already going to be super long, but I just wanted to wrap it up and say thank you guys for watching, if anyone does watch. And stay warm, because it is cold and frigid out there and still really windy. It's supposed to be dying down soon, but I will probably write in my other journal, my new one, and yeah, maybe do a little bit more crocheting today. So anyway, ta-ta!